his eyes, how he looks at somebody else. You could also read it in Hebrew. That's the beauty in Hebrew. Yesh, the Gemara says, Yesh ein lemikra, Yesh ein lemesayris. The Torah is also midrash according to the letters with different vowels. You put different vowels on the achira, you could read it achireya. He's a brother and a friend. Brotherhood and friendship, achireya. What does it depend on? Beinena. Again, depends on the eyes. It's how he looks at the other one. And why is this specifically by Naphtali? What does it have to do with Naphtali? If this was the Nasi of Naphtali, let's go back to the history of Naphtali. How did Naphtali come to the world? It says, Vatekane Rochel B'Choiso. And Rashi said, Rachel had jealousy on her sister. And Rashi says, don't think that she had jealousy of her sister Chas v'Shalom. It can't be that she was jealous of her sister Tzaddikus like Rava. What was she jealous? The mitzvot u'masim tovim shela. She was jealous of a ma'asim tovim. That's a kosher jealousy. Because a non-kosher jealousy, you want to take away from the other one what he has. You want it to be yours instead. Masim tovim, you don't want his masim tovim. You want to have masim tovim like he has. That's a kosher jealousy. That's a mitzvah. That's what it says in Chazal. Kenat sofrim. What one chacham is jealous of the other chacham. Not that he wants him not to be a chacham. He wants to be a chacham like him. Tarbeh chachma. It multiplies wisdom. So Naphtali was the product of jealousy, but kosher jealousy. And so the name Naphtali. When Naphtali was born, so Rachel said, Naftule Elokim niftalti. I was stubborn. I didn't stop praying to Hashem. And Hashem answered my jealousy. Emachoisi, like my sister Gam Yecholti. Now I have something which is to me too. I have I reached somewhere the madrega with my sister that I have some child which will be connected with me, which I brought to the world. So Naphtali was a piyus, was a compensation on kosher jealousies. And the name of the Nasi is hinted over here. It says Shirish. What does this have to do with Matan Torah? We say in davening, we have a bracha on the receiving of the Torah before Kriya Shema. Ava Rabba Avtonu. This blessing, by the way, in halachas, if you stay up all night and you don't hear Birchas HaTorah in the morning on Shavuos, it's also, it says if somebody didn't make Birchas HaTorah or doesn't know to make Birchas HaTorah, this bracha Ava Rabba is called a bracha on the Torah. If immediately after Shemon Esrei he learned something, this is called Birchas HaTorah. Ava, we say like this. Ba'avur avoseinu shepotchu b'cha v'talamdei chukei chai. It says that why, and this it means two meanings. Who's Avoseinu? Avoseinu could be Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov. Avoseinu could be Klal Yisrael, because you see the Torah. Avos kivu kol ha'Torah kula before it was given. Hashem taught them the Torah. Avoseinu mamish, and as well Avoseinu. Dor Midbar. So it says, why did Hashem give us Matan Torah? What's the schus necessary for Torah? Ba'avur avoseinu shebotchu b'cha, because they trusted in you and believed in you. That's why the Talamdim Chukei Chai. It's very interesting. Where do we find, there's many Perushim. Where do we find the connection that Kabbalah HaTorah, that the teaching of Torah was the schus havitachon, was in the merit of trusting in Hashem? Where do we see this? Where do we see a facet of this idea that the transference of the Torah is specifically depending on the level of trust in Hashem? So let's go back to the pasuk introducing Matan Torah. Came to Har Sinai. It says Vayichan Yisrael Neged Ahad. It says it not in the plural form, but in the singular form. So Rashi says Vayichan Yisrael Neged Ahad Ki Ish Echad B'lei Echad. What does this have to do with trust in Hashem? It says, but one thing, let's take step by step. Here, the Sforim tell us that they could, if they were not in this madrega, in this level of total unity amongst the people, they could not have received the Torah. Because the gift of the Torah is to Klal Yisrael, to the nation as a unit. Like the pasuk says, Torah tzivon Moshe. Moshe commanded us the Torah. May Russia, it's an inheritance. Kehilas Yaakov. Kehilah, kahel is to gather together as a unit, as a community, together. The Torah is not given to one. If they would not have been ke'ish echad b'leib echad, they couldn't receive the Torah. To the amount that a person is united, he's part of a tzibur, he's part of a group, he sees himself as as a limb of a whole, so he's connected with Torah. Says the Gra. How can all of Klal Yisrael, how can a group be K'ish Echad Leilach? Says something fascinating. Without Emunah, it's impossible. Jealousy, Hashem created man with jealousy. Jealousy is a natural product of living. It's part of life. People look at each other and they're jealous of each other. And this divides between people. How can one eliminate jealousy? There is no way to eliminate jealousy without the moon. Person looks and he sees, he says, it looks to a person, although it's an optical illusion, but we only know it with the moon. The only way, first I'll say the words over there. The only way that it's possible to be K'ish Echad, B'lev Echad, to be like the whole community, like one man with one heart, is only with the total trust in Hashem of what Chazal tell us, the sages tell us, Ein Adam Nogea B'mashemuchan L'chaveroi Kimolei Nima. One cannot take away from what's prepared for his friend even a hair breadth. Kimolei Nima is like a sarah. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decrees for each one what is waiting for him and what he needs in life. And like we make the bracha in the morning, one of the blessings we make, Birchat HaShachar, Sha'asa li kol tzorki. He made for me all my needs, everything that my neshama, my nefesh needs. It's true, if you look with external eyes, this world is an optical illusion. It gives, that's the Nisayon, one of the tests of life. It looks sometimes that because Reuven is there, I would have gotten this job if Reuven wouldn't have gotten it. Reuven really got the job which was meant for me. It really somehow, I don't know, got mixed up. So it got mixed up. He took the job, but it was really meant for me. I'm more fitting for it. So it looks, but and when a person thinks that, and he does think it, it's automatic. It goes in a second. So he doesn't have such nice feelings to Reuven. If Reuven took his job, it's very hard to have nice feelings. So there's division. But this is the test of this world. It's an optical illusion because it's not true. That's the test. Reuven got the job because HaKadosh Baruch Hu decreed in heaven that this job is for Reuven and not for Shimon. If this job was for you, it's just an example, but it's everything in life, then you would have gotten it. If you didn't get it, Hashem didn't mean it for you. Even Korach had this test when Moshe pointed somebody. Even Korach, with all his greatness of Torah and everything, he had a test. But so at the end of the day, the only way to overcome jealousy is the full emunah that nobody can take anything which is, if it's meant for you, there's nobody in the world can take it away from you. If it's not for you, it wasn't meant by you. But that's emunah and hashgacha pratis. Now let's go back. So in other words, if they war, so let's learn the pasuk. Vayichan Yisrael negel Har. If they war at Hasinai, ki ish echad b'lev echad, they were one, like one man with one heart. It must be that they had total emunah, faith and trust in Hashem, that nothing happens by coincidence and nothing happens by circumstance, and everything that happens is decreed to man, and that what a person gets what was meant for him to get, and there's no way of changing that. So otherwise they could not be K'ish Echad B'lev Echad. And if they wouldn't have been K'ish Echad B'lev Echad, they couldn't have gotten the Torah. So now let's go back to the blessing. So that's one of the, there's many pshat, it's not the only facet. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what merit did they get that HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught them Chukei Chaim? Because they had total trust in you. What's the proof that they had total? Where do we see? Because why did he give them Chukei Chaim? Because they were Kishecha B'lev Echad. What's the proof? Without that they wouldn't have gotten the Torah. What's the proof that they had a total trust? The very fact that they were Kishecha B'lev Echad. Because without total trust in Hashem, this Metzias, this state of being all united together, is something in the nature of man impossible. One can only conquer the feelings of jealousy with total and human trust in Hashem. That's why I go back and bring back. So this is when I read this in the Torah, specifically by Naphtali, Achira, then Einam, and it goes both ways. what your feelings to others if you have an ayin toiv. And one of the avodas of Kabbalah Satira is to be k'yeshechad b'leidacha. To be like one man with one heart, who needs to look at others with an ayin toiv, to see their malot, their positive qualities, and to see them in a good eye. And to see them in a good eye is if you believe totally in Hashem, that nobody can take away from you what's meant for you. So each one is living in his own world. Nobody's taking away from it. You're not really in competition. That's what a Jew is commanded to believe. And that will give him a good eye. Then he'll be a good brother. Be an achreya, an ayin toiv. And that's necessary for Kabbalah Satira, because part of a haftar lecha kamoicha is zekra gola b'torah. Another point, just sharing with some machshava. The Torah specifically states the date when Am Yisrael was counted. It's also thinking something interesting. Yedaber Hashem Moshe b'midbar Sinai b'yom be'echad achridish hasheni v'ashana hasheni sitzes l'machor. It's chodesh Iyar. Am Yisrael appointed these Nesiim and Moshe Rabbeinu. Sakol ha'ed kilu be'echad achridish hasheni. It's very interesting. The Mitzvah Shemus Klal Yisrael was counted in the Midbar. Which month? Rosh Chodesh Iyar. We also have a mitzvah to count. It's interesting. This Chodesh Iyar has something to do with counting, right? Chodesh Iyar is the only month whose days are totally counted with deiros. Mitzvah Sfiras Ayla. Chodesh Nisan, we begin on Tezai Nisan. Chodesh Sivan is only a few days. But Chodesh Iyar, every single day of Chodesh Iyar is counted. We count the times, we count the days. Mitzvah Sfiras Ayla. So here, Chodesh Iyar, Klal Yisrael is counted, and we have a mitzvah. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe there's a connection between the two. This is an observation. Nobody can argue with me on the observation. But is there a connection? So I thought to myself, is there a connection between these two things? That the Torah tells us that Am Yisrael is counted in Chodesh Iyar, and we count Chodesh Iyar. The answer is, what does the counting mean? Counting means that each Jew individually is needed for Klal Yisrael. Each one has his specific place. The Am Yisrael is doimek kechavim. Like it says in the Pasuk, what says Hashem Yisrael takes out the kechavim and counts them. We say it in davening as well. He said, Moina mispol kechavim. He counts, he puts a number to the stars. Moina, there's a Pasuk in the Halalukas. Moina mispol kechavim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu counts with a number of the stars. V'chulam shemus zikra. Each star, we know that there's millions of stars. And it says to us, we don't know why all those million of stars are there. But the Rebbeinu Shalom who created them does know. L'chulam sheimos yikra. Each star, if it wouldn't be there, would be something missing to the world. So it says. Each one, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a name. And so, every Jew has his specific tafkin, his specific purpose and responsibility. When is Am Yisrael compared to the stars and each one counted? When each individual counts his days, when he sees responsibility, that he's not here as without cheshbon, like it says, lifnei mi ata tin din b'cheshbon. There's a cheshbon. Time is a gift, and it's to be used. Sfiras ha'omer represents the concept we spoke about it the last time. Sfiras, I spoke about it 2 weeks ago. This exactly this concept. Sfiras ha'omer is connected with the cheshbon. You make ha-cheshbon. When a person is safe for this time and makes a cheshbon, counts his time, then he's an individual needed for Klal Yisrael. Responsibility, then all of Klal Yisrael is counted. So Chodesh Iyar is a zman. When we count time, it's a zman that's ma'ir the chshivas of every individual. Now, that's connected with Kriyas HaTorah.